talking to another friend of mine and had this realization that I stitched together from, I guess, things I've learned, but you have that moment where you've never put it to words in the same way. And it has to do with originality. And I think about like when I was in college, I used to be obsessed with originality. Like that was how I measured everything. I remember having an MP3 player, which dates me incredibly, but I had limited storage on it, and I would make sure that everything that was on there, like not only did I like, because obviously I liked all the stuff I put on there, but part of the measurement was like I really wanted to just have the stuff that I liked, that I thought was the most unique, the most interesting. And so the only songs I kept on there were the ones that not just hit home the most, but the ones that were the most different from each other too. I feel like that mindset, leaked into everything that I was doing. But a big problem with trying to be original is that you are so incredibly mindful of your audience. And there's a difference between creating something for an audience, understanding that they're going to understand what you're making and it'll resonate with them, and thinking of criticism from your audience. And when I used to think, oh, this idea is not good enough because it's not unique enough, I've already seen things like it, I'm already thinking about how the work is going to be judged and perceived. And if you look objectively at the work out there and you look at artists and musicians, creatives who are successful, they all will tell you, like, I was just trying to be like this person. You hear the impersonation a little bit, but their filter is enough to feel unique and feel like their own. And even when it was at its most derivative, it was still filtered through them, and that made it its own thing.
My question is, what would you say is the best thing about being alive?
Jesus Christ. Best thing about being alive is most of the time it's pretty great to be alive.
What is it?
Most of the time it's pretty great to be alive. Because sometimes fun things happen.
Nice things happen?
Fun things
Fun
happen.
things happen.
Oh, that was a
No, that's
good.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You know what?
What if I don't like that answer?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go home and then I'm gonna have some really smart answer to you.
Really smart.
Yeah.
These
God
are
damn
jokes.
it. Yeah.
And what I mean by filter is simply just your worldview, your life experiences. We all have things that have happened to us uniquely. We all have interests we had that we've cultivated throughout our lives. And so even if we all look at the same object, we're all going to say something different about it, often shaped by those experiences, by that worldview we have. For example, if you're someone who is more into color than, I don't know, technical ability or the technical aspects of a work, if you look at a photograph, you're going to comment and be inspired by the colors used. Whereas someone who is a more technical person by nature and loves lighting and the way it works and the way it falls, that person is going to be looking at the lighting and take something away from that to apply to their own work. So as long as you're cultivating your filter and aware of it, aware of how you see the world, it's going to be hard not to make something that feels unique to you, even if you feel like you're almost directly copying another idea. And so besides the fact that your filter makes something unique, thinking too much about originality and having the audience in your head and then thinking about how it will be received stops you from trying things. So that is something I feel like I might have missed out on, where I had ideas that I thought, oh, I've seen something too much like this. And who knows, if I had pursued any of those ideas by me working through it and filtering it through my brain at that age, at that time, I could have made something really interesting. But I didn't, because I thought from the onset, oh, somebody's going to think it's like this other thing, or it's going to feel too derivative.
I feel like this is kind of problematic. They're not an age. How am I supposed to know?
I'm gonna go use.
Are they? or use this restroom or
So when you think about it this way, it really changes your relationship to your work, because now, from this perspective, I feel like originality not only is less of a pressure in what I'm doing. I mean, obviously, you want to challenge yourself, and people say a good rule of thumb, for example, it's like don't go with your first idea because that's the one that's the most obvious, right? You do want to challenge yourself to be original and think outside the box, but you can do that really by just being and making your work personal. Make it as personal and specific to you and your experiences as possible, and that'll resonate with people, because in that specificity, you'll make something that no one else has seen in that exact way, but it will also resonate with that many more people. Because if memes are one thing to go by, the more specific the meme, the more surprised you'll be to find that not only are you not alone in this world, but so many people can relate. I'll end with a quote from John Lennon, the late Beatle. He had said that he was very frustrated with very technical jazz that was coming out around the time. And the reason was because he said he liked the blues better. He said the blues are like a chair that you sit in. It does something for you, it holds you down. Whereas this very intricate, intellectual jazz was more like a very beautiful, ornate chair that you could look at from the distance, but you couldn't touch or sit in. And I remember when I first heard that, it really shaped my perspective of originality, because I think I was too focused on trying to make that pretty chair, the one that we would appreciate and think about how clever Starkey is and how creative and original he is, but no one would be able to do anything with that chair. And so when you think about originality, you have to think about if it's serving a message. Are you creating something because you want to communicate an idea, a viewpoint about the world? Or are you creating it just to flex how creative you are?